Saluti a tutti. Welcome to another episode of Ciao DMV, a podcast dedicated to Italian and Italian Americans and their life in the DMV, aka DC, Maryland, and Virginia. From family stories to little known history to businesses to cultural events, etc. Mostly the good, but sometimes the not so good. And on the evening of June 26th, 2025, the Lido Club of Washington, D.C. awarded $130,000 in undergraduate college scholarships to an outstanding group of deserving Italian-American students at the Italian Embassy in Washington, D.C. Since its inception, the Lido Club Scholarship Program has provided over $1.4 million in college scholarships since 2002. That's a huge amount for a very, very small organization made up of about 200 members. My name is Joseph Barone, and I am your host for this episode of Ciao DMV. And our guests for today's podcast were both in attendance at that event. One was a previous recipient of a Lido scholarship, and one is a current recipient. And I am very happy to introduce Francesca Russo and her daughter, Annalisa Russo. So welcome to you both.
Thank you very much.
Okay. So, ladies, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourselves, both professionally and personally, and also tell us about where your family comes from in Italy.
Okay. My name is Francesca Russo, and I was born in Washington, D.C., raised in Silver Spring, Maryland. I grew up going to public and private schools. I am currently an employee of the Archdiocese of Washington as a teacher and an administrator. I have dual positions, and I currently live in Rockville, Maryland.
And I'm Annalisa Russo. I am a sophomore at St. Joseph's University in Philadelphia, and I am majoring in food marketing, and I have a minor in Italian.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And so where does your family come from in Italy?
So our maternal side, my maternal side comes from Pescara in Abruzzo, and my husband's side comes from Benevento in Campania.
Okay.
And we still very much so keep in touch with both sides of the family, if not weekly, definitely every 2-3 weeks we keep in touch with our families. We're very much connected with our Italian roots.
That is so wonderful to hear. You know, for many, many years, I lost touch with my family in Sicily. And it was only until 2018 that I reconnected. And I keep in touch with at least one cousin every single week. And that's so important to keep in touch with your relatives. So tell me a little bit about growing up Italian American in the DMV. What were some of the values and traditions that you kept from your parents?
Well, we're very much involved with Holy Rosary, the Italian parish in Washington, D.C. That has been a cornerstone of basically my life. I had all of my sacraments except for confirmation at Holy Rosary. And I've done that for my children also. All three of them have had thus far their sacraments at Holy Rosary. So that is a tradition that I was raised with, going to Holy Rosary, and my children are very much aware of that and active participants at Holy Rosary. Traditions, our life is basically revolved around family and food. We have nightly dinners together. We make it a point, regardless of how busy our schedules are, because that's how I was raised. We sit down, even if it's on the later side of the evening, to eat, always around family and faith. And we experience traditions like fish on Christmas Eve, panettone Christmas morning, for example, since we're in that season. Growing up, my mother was a single parent, and all she knew was, Italian foods as a young mother in the United States. And so my brother and I would always get a little upset because many times she would make, pasta or pizza on the 4th of July when my brother and I really wanted, hamburgers and chips. So we kind of, encouraged her to not only do Italian, but throw in a little bit of American in with that.
Mhm.
And I hope, my children now see that the Italian influence being in America is alive and well, at least in our family.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, as my mom said, I've always attended Holy Rosary Church, so growing up Italian American has really opened up my eyes to the sense of community that has been established here, and like my mom said, family is very important, and whether that is related or just the community in general has become a family for me as well.
That's excellent. And of all, I guess, let me ask you, of all of the traditions that you celebrate or keep going, what is probably your favorite?
Hmm. I would have to say this time of year, the food and the family and the certain traditions that we have as a family is really nostalgic and very meaningful to us.
Excellent. That's so wonderful to hear. So now let's get to the heart of the matter, which is Lido Club. And so, Francesca, how did you wind up learning about the Lido Club scholarship program?
Well, through Lido members that attended or attend Holy Rosary, my mom, learned about it, and my brother and I both applied for the scholarship. I would say in the 1990 to that effect, and we were both recipients of the scholarship. So it was through the Italian community that we learned about it, and thank goodness the club is still in existence, if not much more members. And my daughter Annalisa is, has benefited from our family has benefited from the Lido Club recently.
So, so Francesca, do you remember much about the process in those days? Because the process is different. And Annalisa, I'm going to ask you about the process
Mhm.
on your end. But Francesca, do you remember much about the process back then?
Well, I remember being a little nervous as a young girl applying for it. I do remember vividly having a face-to-face interview with the group of interviewees, and remember that being nervous. I don't remember having to write an essay or anything like that. I think at that point in time, Lido wasn't as established as it is now. And so it was just a basic application and a face to face interview.
Okay. And I wasn't a member, and I'll be honest for our viewers, I'm a member of the Lido Club for the last 3+ years, not more than 4, and I'm currently the secretary. So I was not. I think I knew about Lido when I moved to DC in '91, but I really didn't become a part of it. So I didn't know anything about the process or anything like that. But Annalisa, tell us about the process for you. What was it like for you?
Yes, so the process is much less nerve-wracking. It is all online or majority online. The questions, there were several short answer questions, such as what it means to be Italian American and what are my professional plans and goals to achieve those plans. And then once I submitted my application, I got an email with a request for an interview. And after completing the interview, I was notified I received the scholarship.
Fantastic. And especially for mom, Francesca, for you, how what did the Lido scholarship do for you? I mean, other than simply give you a pot of money to help you graduate, what did it do for you? Did it help you influence you in any way in the longer term?
Well, it reminded me that, there is a base of Italian community that supports its Italian American young students. And I mean, not only did it help my family at that time financially, it allowed me to do other things and not have to worry about the burden of college tuition at that time. But, it was impactful at that time as it is now, as my daughter just received it for our family. Mm, but for the most part, the Italian community does support its young people, and it was very influential to me in that respect.
Okay. And Annalisa, do you want to add anything to that? I mean, even though I know you're currently in school, but do you want to add anything to that?
Yes. So receiving the scholarship has really allowed me to experience things that I would otherwise wouldn't be able to do. For example, studying abroad in Italy this summer, I spent a month in Italy studying art and visited several cities and museums and ruins and historical sites. So it was very impactful for me to experience that different culture and lifestyle, and knowing a few words in Italian, knowing the language also really enhanced my experience there because I was able to talk to store clerks, restaurant waiters, other uh, professionals who really had very interesting stories to tell. So knowing the language has really benefited me in that aspect.
So, Annalisa, where did you exactly go on this summer 1 month summer trip?
Sure. So I studied in Rome, and we went to Florence, Assisi, Pompeii, Sorrento, and we visited Capri. These were all excursions, and we tried to incorporate our class in every city that we went to.
Excellent. Did you get a chance to go visit any relatives?
Yes, I did. On
Oh,
free weekends, I went to Abruzzo and visited some family, and then I went down to Benevento as well. So
now was this? Go ahead.
it was very nice to experience visiting family without the help of my parents to translate. So it was a different experience in that aspect as well.
That is so fantastic that you were able to visit them, connect with them, because I know how important that is when you're there to visit them. And because I know if you don't visit them, you'll never hear the end of it. Is that correct?
Yes,
Yes. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's wonderful. Is there anything else you would like to say regarding the scholarship? Any thoughts or anything to the Lido members that you would like to say about the scholarship, or to other members of the Italian American community out there?
Sure. What I would just like to first off say thank you to all of the Lido members and donors. I'm eternally grateful for the scholarship. I appreciate that the Lido scholarship, how much it brought me closer to my heritage and how the Italian American community looks out for one another. As for everybody else, I encourage other Italian Americans in the DMV to apply for this wonderful scholarship, and for the people in the community to donate to the wonderful scholarship funds.
I repeat the same thing that Lisa says. The Leader Scholarship is very impactful, and it has allowed us to give her experiences like her study abroad to Italy that probably might not have been able to do. So I'm also eternally grateful for the Lido Civic Club of Washington, D.C. for having this scholarship fund and for selecting these young children who are going to be the future of our Italian community for years to come. So I thank the Lido Club very much.
And we're very glad to have both of you. So, Francesca and Elisa, I want to say thank you very much for being on my podcast episode. And for anyone who's out there listening, if you're interested on being on this podcast, please feel free to contact me at chowdmv@gmail.com. Once again, thank you so much. This is Joseph Barone, your host, signing out. Ciao.